Ladies and gentlemen, high achievers, relentless dreamers, and those who measure life by milestones and checkboxes. Pause for just a moment. Breathe. Listen. You, who have spent years racing toward the next promotion, the next accolade, the next impossible standard, have you ever stopped to ask, at what cost? Have you felt the creeping exhaustion that no vacation can cure? The restlessness that no success can quiet? The gnawing suspicion that no matter how high you climb, no matter how many achievements you collect, fulfillment always seems just out of reach, dangling like a mirage on the horizon? You are not alone. This is the paradox of ambition, the double-edged sword of drive. It fuels you, but it also consumes you. It lifts you to great heights, yet it robs you of the very joy you seek. And for far too long, we have been told that this is the price we must pay for greatness. That to slow down, to let go, to simply be, is to fall behind. But what if I told you that everything you've been chasing, everything you've been sacrificing for, has been within you all along? That peace, contentment, and success do not live at the top of some distant mountain, but in the stillness you have been too afraid to embrace. In the Achiever Fever Cure, How I Learned to Stop Striving Myself Crazy, Claire Booth pulls back the curtain on the illusion of relentless striving. With raw honesty and hard-won wisdom, she unveils the truth. The relentless pursuit of more money, more recognition, more perfection, will never deliver what it promises. And more importantly, you don't have to keep running on this endless treadmill. This book is not a call to abandon ambition, but to redefine it, to shift from a life of pressure to a life of purpose, to trade burnout for balance, anxiety for awareness, exhaustion for empowerment. So I ask you, high achiever, are you ready to break free? Are you ready to reclaim your mind, your time, yourself? Because the cure is here. And it begins with a simple, radical truth. You are already enough. Part 1. The Striving Trap. Why Achievers Are Never Satisfied. Dear readers, high achievers, relentless doers, perfectionists in disguise, this message is for you. You, the one who never slows down. You, the one whose mind is always racing, chasing, conquering, striving. You, the one who should feel successful, and yet, deep inside, feels empty, anxious, and exhausted.
Why?
Why does more never feel like enough? Why does every achievement, every milestone, bring only a fleeting moment of satisfaction before the hunger for the next one takes over? Why, despite the success, the promotions, the accolades, do you still feel like you are running on a treadmill, never arriving? This, my friends, is achiever fever, a sickness of the mind, a relentless addiction to doing, proving, winning, a disease that makes you believe happiness is always one more achievement away, but never here, never now. And Claire Booth, once a prisoner of this very fever, has cracked the code. She has walked through the fire of burnout, anxiety, and exhaustion, and she has emerged with the cure. So listen closely, because this is not just a book summary. This is a wake-up call. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Myth of More. Why We Strive Ourselves Crazy. We live in a culture that worships more. More success. More accomplishments. More productivity. More money, recognition, influence. We believe that if we just push a little harder, accomplish a little more, we will finally feel fulfilled. But Booth reveals the painful truth. More is a lie. More is a trap. Because the moment you reach that goal, that milestone, that number in your bank account, guess what?
It moves.
The satisfaction fades. The hunger returns. And the cycle repeats. Booth describes her own experience as a high-achieving businesswoman who had it all: money, success, status, but was plagued by stress, sleepless nights, and an endless sense of not enough. She had to face the brutal reality. Striving does not bring peace. It brings exhaustion. And until we recognize this, we will forever be chasing a finish line that does not exist. Chapter 2. The Prison of Perfectionism. Why Nothing Ever Feels Good Enough. Let me ask you something. Have you ever accomplished something big, something others admire, yet deep inside, felt like it was never quite good enough? Have you ever crushed a goal, only to think I should have done more, I could have done better? This is perfectionism, and it is the cruelest jailer of all. It does not just demand success. It demands flawless, unattainable, never satisfied success. Booth reveals how perfectionism infects our thinking. It convinces us that mistakes are unacceptable, so we live in constant fear of failing. It tells us that rest is weakness, so we drive ourselves to exhaustion. It whispers that if we slow down, we will fall behind, so we never stop running. But here is the irony. Perfectionism does not create excellence. It destroys it. It makes us afraid to take risks. It makes us afraid to start. It makes us afraid to live. And worst of all, it steals our joy. Because when nothing is ever good enough, we miss the beauty of the present moment. Chapter 3. The fear that drives us. Why we can't stop striving. But let's go deeper. Why do we chase more? Why do we fear slowing down? Why do we feel guilty if we are not constantly achieving? Booth identifies the root cause of achiever fever. Fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of falling behind. Fear of what people will think. We do not strive because we love the game. We strive because we are terrified of losing. And this, my friends, is the harshest truth of all. Many of us are not driven by passion. We are driven by fear. Fear disguised as ambition. Fear disguised as having high standards. Fear disguised as just wanting to do our best. But fear, no matter how beautifully dressed, will never lead to peace. Until we face this truth, we will remain trapped in the cycle of striving, exhaustion, and emptiness. Chapter 4. The breaking point, when achievers hit the wall. Here is the final chapter of part 1, perhaps the most important one of all. Because no matter how strong you are, no matter how much you think you can handle, there will come a moment when your body, your mind, and your soul say enough. It may come in the form of burnout. It may come in the form of crippling anxiety. It may come in the form of losing the joy in everything you once loved. For Claire Booth, it came in a moment of complete mental and emotional collapse. She had spent years pushing, striving, chasing, until one day, her mind and body shut down. She could no longer function. She could no longer pretend. She could no longer run from the truth. And that truth was this. Something had to change. She had a choice. Continue down the path of exhaustion, fear, and endless striving, or finally break free. Part 2. The Cure. Reclaiming your mind, your time, and your joy. You have seen the sickness. You have felt its grip, the anxiety, the exhaustion, the endless hunger for more. Now, the question is, are you ready for the cure? Because, let me be clear, the cure is not about abandoning ambition. The cure is not about giving up on excellence. The cure is not about settling for mediocrity.
No.
The cure is about freedom. Freedom from the toxic mindset that tells you that you must strive harder, faster, longer just to be worthy. Claire Booth doesn't just tell us what's wrong. She shows us the way out. So, if you are tired of running on the hamster wheel of achievement, if you are ready to wake up excited instead of exhausted, if you are ready to finally feel peace, presence, and joy in your life, then listen closely, because this is where everything changes. Chapter 5. The Power of Awareness. Seeing the lies that run your life. The first step to freedom is awareness. Because you cannot change what you refuse to see. For years, Booth was trapped in achiever fever, but she did not even realize it. She thought, this is just what success looks like. This stress is normal. Once I hit my next goal, I'll feel better. But when she finally stopped, truly stopped, she began to see the truth. She saw how she was driven not by joy, but by fear. She saw how her mind was constantly racing, never resting, always thinking about what's next instead of what's now. She saw how she had spent her life chasing happiness in the future, never realizing that happiness can only exist in the present. And so, the first step in the cure is this. Wake up. Wake up to the thought patterns that keep you stuck. Wake up to the inner voice that tells you you're never enough. Wake up to the fact that no amount of success will satisfy you until you learn to be at peace with yourself. Once you see the lie, you can no longer be controlled by it. Chapter 6: Slowing Down to Speed Up, the Power of Presence. I know what you're thinking. Slow down. I don't have time to slow down. But that, my friends, is exactly the problem. The illusion of urgency is what keeps us trapped. Booth realized that the busier she became, the less effective she was. Her constant rushing, multitasking, and overloading her schedule made her less creative, less sharp, less inspired. And then, she made a radical decision. She slowed down. She stopped obsessing over productivity. She stopped checking emails 24/7. She stopped filling every moment with work. And the result? She became more powerful than ever. Because when you slow down, you gain clarity. You can see what truly matters. Energy. You stop wasting energy on meaningless busyness. Creativity. Your mind becomes free to think, dream, and innovate. Joy. You finally experience life instead of rushing through it. The cure to exhaustion is not more time. The cure is learning to live in the time you already have. Chapter 7: Escaping the Comparison Trap. Your journey, your pace. Look around you. Social media,
News.
workplaces. Everywhere we turn, we are bombarded with other people's success. And the voice inside whispers, look at them. They're ahead of you. You need to catch up. But let me tell you the truth. You are running a race that only you can win. Comparison is a thief. It steals your confidence. It steals your joy. It steals your ability to focus on what truly matters. Booth realized that she was measuring her life by someone else's ruler. She was chasing a version of success that wasn't even her own. So she made a powerful choice. She let go of the need to prove. She let go of the race she never signed up for. She chose her own path, at her own pace. And guess what? She didn't fall behind. She finally felt free. So ask yourself, are you chasing success because it's what you truly want? Or are you chasing it because you think you should? Chapter 8: Rewriting the Definition of Success, from Striving to Thriving. And now, my friends, we arrive at the most important question of all. What is success? Not society's definition. Not your parents' definition. Not your industry's definition. Your definition. For years, Booth thought success was money, status, prestige. But when she got all of that, she was still miserable. So she did something radical. She redefined success on her own terms. For her, success became waking up feeling excited instead of exhausted. Doing work that felt meaningful, not just profitable. Having time to breathe, to think, to truly live. And suddenly she was no longer running. She was thriving. So now, I ask you, what is your definition of success? Not what the world tells you. Not what your ego tells you. Not what fear tells you. What does success mean to you? Because once you define it, you can finally start living it. Part 3: The Path to Lasting Peace, Purpose, and Fulfillment. You have seen the sickness. You have awakened to the cure. Now, my friends, we arrive at the most powerful part of the journey. This is where we stop simply understanding the problem, and we start living the solution. Because breaking free from achiever fever is not just about knowing what's wrong. It's about taking bold, intentional action every single day to build a life that is peaceful, powerful, and truly fulfilling. This is not about temporary relief. This is about lasting transformation. So, if you are ready to live with more clarity, if you are ready to reclaim your joy, if you are ready to finally feel free, then let us begin. Chapter 9: Living in the Now, Mastering the Art of Presence. What if I told you that everything you're searching for is already here? The peace, the happiness, the fulfillment. It's all here, right now. But most of us are too busy chasing the future to see it. Booth realized that her constant striving stole her ability to be present. She was always thinking about what's next, the next goal, the next win, the next milestone. But when do we ever stop and say, this moment, right here, is enough? When do we ever allow ourselves to breathe, to feel, to just be? Here's the truth. If you cannot find joy right now, in this moment, you will never find it in the future. Because the future never arrives. There is only now. And so, Booth made a radical decision. She trained herself to be present. She practiced mindfulness. She paid attention to small joys. She stopped rushing through life. And suddenly, the joy she had been searching for was right in front of her. Because life isn't meant to be a checklist of achievements. It is meant to be experienced. Chapter 10. Redefining Productivity. The power of doing less, but better. We live in a world that worships busyness. More hours, more hustle, more achievements. But let me ask you this. Are you actually productive? Or are you just busy? Because, my friends, those are not the same thing. Booth realized that her to-do list was running her life. She was constantly working, yet never feeling caught up. She was exhausted, but never truly satisfied. So she did something radical. She stopped trying to do everything. Instead, she asked, what truly matters? What actually moves the needle? What can I let go of? And when she started focusing on less, but better, her stress went down and her impact went up. Here's the truth. Being busy is not a badge of honor. Working more hours does not mean you're working better. Success is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things. So, if you are exhausted from endless tasks, it is time to pause, reevaluate, cut the noise, because you are not here to do everything. You are here to do what matters. Chapter 11. Reclaiming Joy, the Forgotten Art of Play and Rest. When was the last time you felt pure joy? Not because you accomplished something, not because you checked off a goal, not because you won, just joy. For no reason other than the fact that life is beautiful. Achievers forget how to play. They forget how to rest. They forget how to enjoy life without needing to be productive. But let me tell you something. Rest is not a luxury. Joy is not a distraction. Play is not a waste of time. They are essential to your well-being. Booth realized that she had been denying herself joy. She was waiting for some imaginary future moment where she could finally relax. But life doesn't work that way. If you don't allow yourself to enjoy life now, you never will. So, she made a decision. She reintroduced play, fun, and rest into her life. She started laughing again. She gave herself permission to take breaks. She let go of the guilt that told her she had to be productive all the time. And guess what? She became happier, more creative, and more energized than ever. So if you have forgotten what joy feels like, it is time to reclaim it. Chapter 12. The Courage to Live Differently. Stepping into a new way of being. And now, my friends, we arrive at the most important moment of all, the decision. Because you now hold the truth in your hands. You have seen the sickness. You have learned the cure. You have discovered a new way to live. But now, you must choose. You can go back to the way things were. You can continue striving, chasing, exhausting yourself in pursuit of some distant finish line. Or, you can take a stand. You can say no more. You can say, I choose peace. You can say, I am already enough. This is not an easy choice. The world will keep telling you to hustle harder, do more, be more. But you must be brave enough to live differently. To slow down when others rush, to choose presence over productivity, to define success on your own terms. Because in the end, the real achievement in life is not how much you accomplish. It is how deeply you live. So, my friends, the question remains, what will you choose? Because the power is in your hands. A final call to action. Your new life begins now. My friends, we have arrived. We have walked through the fire. We have faced the truth. We have seen the sickness that has consumed us, the relentless striving, the exhaustion, the never-ending chase for more. But more importantly, we have found the cure. We have learned that success is not found in the next achievement, the next goal, or the next milestone. It is not in working longer hours, pushing harder, or proving ourselves over and over again.
No.
Real success, true success, is found in something far more profound. It is found in presence. It is found in peace. It is found in the ability to live fully without needing to constantly prove our worth. Because, my friends, let me tell you something powerful. You are already enough. Not when you achieve your next goal. Not when you finally impress the world. Not when you earn your right to slow down. But right now. As you are. And that is the truth that will set you free. The choice that defines your life. So now, I ask you, what will you do with this truth? Because knowing is not enough. Understanding is not enough. Even agreeing is not enough. You must decide. Will you go back to the old way? The way of stress, of burnout, of never feeling good enough? The way of pushing, striving, and chasing a finish line that never arrives? Or will you be brave enough to choose something different? Because make no mistake, this choice requires courage. It takes courage to slow down in a world that worships speed. It takes courage to say, I am enough, when the world tells you to do more. It takes courage to choose joy, rest, and presence when society demands constant achievement. But those who dare to make this choice, they are the ones who truly live. They are the ones who wake up every morning without dread, without stress, without the crushing weight of expectations. They are the ones who go through their days fully present, fully alive, fully at peace. They are the ones who find success on their own terms, not by how much they achieve, but by how deeply they experience life. And my friends, that choice is yours to make. Your new life begins now.
So, take a deep breath.
Let go of the pressure. Let go of the self-judgment. Let go of the belief that you have to earn your right to be happy. Because your right to happiness is not something you win, it is something you already have.
Right now. Today.
So, take that first step. Say no to the things that drain you. Say yes to the things that bring you joy.
Slow down.
Be present. Live deeply. And remember, you are enough. You have always been enough.
And you always will be.
Now go forward and truly live. This is the end of the book, but the beginning of your new life. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz reviews and summaries.